Marjorie Meanswell was a very good girl. She smiled all the time, and her hair held its curl. In fact, she'd been always so good for so long that she couldn't remember doing anything wrong. Marjorie's mother worried too much. Her smothering care an emotional crutch. She fussed over Marjorie and checked the girl's vitals. She would say, in Vietnamese with English subtitles.
For school I must write of a thing I did bad, but I never did, so it's making me sad. And then I have to say how I paid for this crime, but I'm always good. It seems all the time.
Mama's angel could never do anything bad. She doesn't get mad or cry when she's sad. She doesn't yell out or talk back to her dad. My goodness, my girl does not even wear plaid. I'm sure you think of something to write. I'm going to bed now, so I'll kiss you good night.
Good night.
She looked at the clock and then at the moon, and realized too late it would be morning too soon. Her work was not done, and ideas were not coming, all the while in her head Mother's words were drumming.
Mama's angel could never do anything bad.
Again and again, the words bounced off the ceiling and shot through the den.
Never do anything bad.
Then Marjorie's memory went off on a trip, but her mood didn't get better. It started to rip.
Marjorie, you say, someone cheated today. She wrote out the answers and hid them away? You're always honest, so I'll trust you this time. Give her a punishment that won't even rhyme.
Tammy.
She said so the heavens could hear, without remorse, without fear.
The one friend you're never without? I don't understand. You ratted her out?
I did it because it was the right thing to do. I did it to her and I'd do it to you.
Marjorie was lost. Her mind was confused. Why had Mr. Phillips questioned her views? Tammy had cheated, and that was not right. Again, Marjorie's mind drifted into the night.
I know it was you that ratted me out. She gave me an F, now graduation's in doubt. We were best friends, like sisters, you see. Little Goody Two Shoes could not let it be. Goody Two Shoes, Goody Two Shoes, Goody Two Shoes, Goody Two Shoes.
Marjorie stared as hard as she could, and realized this do-gooding had done her no good. That wallet she found overflowing with cash. When she gave it back, they started to laugh. And the cat she returned to Mrs. O'Grady turned out to be stray and bit the old lady. Marjorie was alone in this goodness and trapped. Then something in Marjorie suddenly snapped. She turned with resolve and opened a drawer, withdrew a cold object, and walked out the door.
Goody Two Shoes, Goody Two Shoes, Goody Two Shoes.
Mr. Neighbors was on his way home from a trip from the store for some smokes and some French onion dip.
Smoking's bad.
He heard from the dark, then saw little Marjorie alone in the park.
It is, I know, and I'm trying to quit.
As he turned to his right, extinguishing it, before he turned back, he felt pain in his chest, and Marjorie was there, her knife in his breast.
Why, Marjorie?
Was all that he asked, and then the small girl pushed him back very fast. She climbed up on top him and withdrew her knife. Then she stabbed and she stabbed till she stabbed out his life. Then Marjorie did a curious thing. She straightened her dress and she started to sing. Marjorie laid down by the late Mr. Neighbors, pulled out her camera and recorded her labors. Mr. Meanswell was a serious chap, a banker by trade who didn't take crap. At breakfast, he read the village newspaper, ate wheat toast with jam, and smoked lox with one caper. He was not at all glad when he heard the door ring, disturbing his breakfast. Who'd do such a thing? He moved like quicksilver, on his lips an invective, but silenced himself when he saw the detective.
I'm sorry, kind sir. This comes without warning. I'm Sergeant Friday.
How are you this morning?
Something happened last night. A cold-blooded slaughter.
I'm afraid it has something to do with your daughter,
That's silly.
he said, wiping locks from his chin.
She's such a good girl. Last night she was in.
The evidence is clear, overwhelming, you see.
She emailed this photo at 3 after 3.
Marjorie couldn't do anything bad. She never gets mad or cries when she's sad. She never calls out or talks back to her dad. My goodness, my girl doesn't even wear plaid.
Just then, Marjorie walked into the foyer toward the waiting policeman holding the card of her lawyer.
Why, Marjorie, why? This means lifelong confinement.
She said without guilt.
It was a homework assignment.
And there, on the table, near the front door, was a neat stack of papers, 10 pages, no more.
Take my paper to school today, before 3. You'll find my teacher in room 106B.
I know you have nothing bad to report, like working late nights as cargo escort. But why kill a man? Why do it this way?
It's simple, dear mother. I wanted an A.
Marjorie Meanswell was a very good girl. She smiled all the time, and her hair held its curl. Although she'd been always so good for so long, they put her to death anyway.